Hey guys, Lightning Flame Games here. Welcome to the fourth of my Black Ops 3 Express guides. In this episode, we'll be covering the default specialist weapons. Let's go! Gravity spikes act kind of like a ground pound from the Super Mario Bros. Series on copious amounts of steroids. Upon leaping and landing, Ruin generates a huge explosion that instantly wipes out all infantry and score streaks within a surprisingly large range. You can also use them if caught by surprise, as your initial leap can confuse your would-be attacker long enough to kill them in the blast and keep your streak alive. This does have a few key weaknesses though. For starters, you're very noticeable when you initiate the attack, so savvy foes can blast you out of the sky before you hit the ground. Also, it has no long-range potential since it's not a weapon that can be aimed and fired. Still, while other specialist weapons have the potential for more kills at longer ranges, none can match the ease of use and instantaneousness of the gravity spikes. Surprise your foe sitting in a cramped hardpoint or on the B flag in domination, or use this as an emergency measure to stay alive. Either way, they won't realize the gravity of the situation until it's too late. Bringing a bow and arrow to a gunfight seems like a bit of a failed endeavor, but Outrider says, screw it, I'm doing it anyway. When activated, you'll be given a compound bow and 8 explosive arrows total. Aiming down the sights will zoom in your view considerably. Use this to your advantage. You can then tap the fire button to lob an arrow forward, or you can hold it down to charge the arrow, then let go to fire the arrow straight. Enemies will die no matter how much the arrows are charged, so don't feel like you have to fully charge every shot. Stronger shots will draw your enemies back, possibly into other enemies, so the possibility for a collateral is pretty high. Finally, the arrows do have an explosive radius, which is small, but quite powerful. Even if you miss your mark, the explosion may net you a kill. Note that you only have a limited amount of time with the Sparrow, so don't delay and make your shots count. You're at a pretty big disadvantage up close too, so try to keep your enemy at an arm's reach. One final tidbit, don't switch weapons. If you do, you'll lose the weapon no matter how many shots you had left. This weapon is best suited to tackling enemies over medium to long sightlines, so you have time and space to make sure your shots hit their targets. The weapon may be called Sparrow, but once you're through with your foes, you'll feel like Hawkeye. This gun basically shoots lightning. That automatically makes it awesome. Upon activation, you're given a rifle with 8 electric shots. Its major weakness is that there's a brief charge time after you hit the fire button before the projectile actually leaves the gun. Be careful up close. Once again, don't switch weapons or you'll lose the weapon and deplete your power meter. The Tempest is just as accurate when aiming as it is when firing from the hip, and on top of that, the projectiles are wider than bullets, so you don't have to be perfectly accurate. What's unique about this weapon is that while your targets are shocked and killed, the electricity can arc and chain to those nearby and shock them as well. Finally, if you melee someone with the Tempest in your hands, they'll get shocked and die instantly. Since a shocked enemy poses a significant hazard to those around them, the Tempest shines at area denial, assuming your shots are on target. Equip this weapon, storm in, and give your enemies quite a shock. The War Machine from previous games returns, with an extra dose of lethality. When active, you'll be equipped with a grenade launcher with 8 shots. Fired grenades will explode and kill on contact with an enemy, but upon contact with any other surface, they'll split into 3 smaller bouncing grenades that will also kill on contact and have high splash damage to boot. Because of the unpredictable bouncing nature and instant lethality, this weapon is made for room clearing, whether it be a group of hostiles in hardpoint or a few campers in team deathmatch. Just be careful at point blank range, as the splash damage can take you out if you're not careful. Also note that the grenades follow a parabolic trajectory, so you may have to lead your targets and aim above your intended mark. Finally, as with the Sparrow and the Tempest, don't switch weapons under any circumstance when using the War Machine, otherwise you'll lose the weapon and will have to earn it again. When the time is right, give this weapon a go, and you'll be sure to have a blast. That's all we have time for today, folks. See you in the next episode, when I'll be covering the unlockable specialist weapons. Until next time, this is Lightning Flame Games saying adios!